So this video will talk about 3 things that you need to know if you are planning to rebuild your engine, or you are looking at that option. Probably instead of replacing engine replacement, you want to rebuild the current one you have. So number one, for cars like this, I would say for it affects all cars, but these older cars, which we regard as agricultural engines, cars that have those kind of engines. One thing I'll tell you is, if you rebuild your engine, I'm talking about full engine rebuild, expect that your engine cooling system will be hotter than normal. Talking of full for 504, 505. It could also be applicable to modern engine, but I'm just telling you based on all my personal experience. These engines, once you rebuild them, your engine temperature, those few kilometers that are going to drive the car, is going to stay very, very high. What I mean is, if your, let's assume before you did the engine rebuild, your average coolant or water temperature while the engine is running is 60, 70 at most, or depend, of course. Some don't have thermostat in theirs, some running with mechanical permanent attached fan. So all those things will keep your temperature sometimes less than 80 degrees Celsius. So if that is what you're having, or it doesn't even come up at all on that blue zone, if you're having that kind of issue, once you rebuild your engine, expect your coolant temperature gauge will start going high. If it doesn't, it means most likely maybe your temperature gauge is not working very well, or there's an issue with the connection or something. It's expected to start going a little bit higher than it should. Even this one I'm sitting on, which is the my ST 505 ST. Yeah, same thing. Even when I did the rebuild, before the rebuild, the maximum temperature is usually at 70 degrees Celsius, even with thermostat, or a little bit more than 70. No, not 70, like 75 or so. In fact, it just stays around 70, a little bit more. Though I was using water at that time, coolant. So, but now that after the rebuild, it stays around 90 degrees Celsius when in motion. It's only when it's not in motion. Now, what I mean when in motion is when the temperature is very hot and you are doing like 60, 40 kilometers per hour. Yeah, expect it to stay around 85 to 90 degrees Celsius. In fact, with the mechanical fan, before I converted it to electric fan, it was shooting a little bit above 90. With mechanical fan at idle, yeah, it was actually a little bit 90. But with electric fan, with this current fan which I put, which was from 508, this one now keeps it around 88, 87 degrees Celsius. So that's what I'm telling you. Expect it. Of course, eventually by the time I put coolant, it will come up. It may even be hovering between 90 to 95. Coolant tends to make the engine hotter than water. That's what you should know. So I'm just wanting it to let the engine run. So it will take a while for eventually the temperature to settle. So always know that. My point is, if your engine cooling system has a problem, before you do that rebuild, fix that problem. Don't ignore that. The kind of problem I'm talking about is, like, let's assume your water pump is faulty. Head gasket, of course, is expected, or is usually when you are rebuilding your engine, you are replacing your head gasket. So that one is a given. What else? Your radiator, your coolant line, whatever it is. If you have any problem and your engine tends to overheat every once in a while, before you do the engine review, fix whatever that is causing it, even if it's not on the engine or inside the engine, the cause. Fix whatever that is causing the overheating, because it won't be, it is going to go extremely higher than it was doing before you do the build. That's the point. So this could also apply to modern ones, talking about modern engines. But I'm telling you, it's a fact when it comes to this older engine. Now the second one is this: when you rebuild your engine, after the engine is rebuilt, you started the engine, you are supposed to apply what we call engine brake in. Engine brake in, BREAK, then IN. That's good. Give a gap, -IN, or run in, RUN dash IN. So you're supposed to break in the engine, because at that time almost every engine is very tight. Most likely you change the engine bearing, change this, change that, piston, rings, crankshaft. So all those things will make the engine very tight. In fact, normally when you rebuild an engine, it will be very difficult to spin. You will realize that even your starter motor will be finding it difficult to crank or spin the crankshaft or your engine. So it will take some drive, some kilometers, if not more than, sometimes up to 500 or so, before the engine frees up. So that's why they call it engine braking. So it takes some wear. The engine needs to wear severely to some extent, so that it becomes free. All those components that are supposed to rotate while your engine is running, because they are now too tight, so they need to wear evenly. And for that to happen, I mean, even wear evenly without any severe kind of wear that will damage the engine, you need to break in the engine. What do you mean by engine braking? You drive for in fact, these days I say 1,000 kilometers. Some will tell you 500. There are some cases, if it's just minor braking, might say 500 kilometers. Major engine, so if it's 500, if it's minor engine rebuild, like some will do only the engine rings. But these days, I'll just tell you, instead of 500 kilometers, just do 1,000 kilometer engine braking drive. So what you do is, within that first 1,000 kilometer drive after rebuilding your engine, do not exceed 3,000 RPM. Do not exceed that. I understand it can be quite very difficult, but don't. Unfortunately, like for me, the tachometer wasn't working very well. So it can be very hard to actually know when, as an old driver, I can tell when it's within that range, but sometimes it could also be difficult to, you could exceed it more. And sometimes, I will like, screw that. I press the throttle a little bit harder than I know I should. In my own case, I'm not so worried. Don't do like I did, because it's almost, the engine has completed the braking. It's almost 1,000 kilometers now. In fact, it is right now. So why I wasn't so trying to strictly follow that procedure was, come on, I have another spare brand new engine. I have another spare engine rebuild kit, original kit. So I was like, let me, once in a while I'll kind of push it. But ordinarily I maintain that. But had it been I had that tachometer, I would have helped. Because the problem is, for this kind of engine, they are usually noisy. So the noise will really help you to know when you are within that tachometer, recommended tachometer. No, recommended RPM for the engine braking. So unlike the modern engine that usually, I will call it soundless, but less noisy. So in that case, you can tell when you are pushing hard. So this one, whether you are low RPM or high RPM, the engine is noisy. So, but I will advise you, do not, for the next 1,000 kilometers, do not push above 3,000. Even if you go, just try immediately to bring it back. Don't push it that hard, for that 1,000 kilometers, and do it only within the city. Do not drive on highway. Even if you're at the highway, just do immediately. See, the point is, do not maintain one gear for a long time, which is what highway will not allow you to achieve. Because on highway, you stay longer on the final or last gear. So don't stay too high, so that the reason why you shouldn't stay, your RPM shouldn't stay steady. It's supposed to fluctuate. If you drive within the streets or city road, stuff like that, or expressway where you don't stay too long, maybe you want to connect to another part of the town, you pass through the expressway. Within 5 minutes, you're already out on the road. So don't stay too long on one RPM. Fluctuate it. Even if you drive, maybe you get to 100 kilometers per hour, reduce your speed after 2-3 minutes, so I start all over again. So keep your RPM fluctuating. It will help the wear, so that your rings won't wear rapidly, and before you know it, this is one of the reasons why people, after they build their engines, they will say, oh, after 2 months or 3 months, it starts smoking again. It's probably because they don't apply this, what's it called, procedure, engine braking procedure. Do it the first 1,000 kilometers. It doesn't matter how long it takes. 2 weeks, 1 week, 3 days, 4 days, 3 months. It's up to you. But don't drive it constantly on highway. Do it city drive, street. So this is one of the things you need to do once you rebuild your engine. Now the final thing I want to point out is, which is the third point, is do not work with a particular, not necessary budget, a particular component in mind that you will be changing when you plan to rebuild your engine. Don't make that mistake. Because trust me, sometimes you end up changing a whole lot. If you want to rebuild your engine, just do okay, what's the general cost, what it will cost me. If it doesn't get up to that amount, fine for me. But do not assume, oh, it's only the rings. Don't make that mistake. If your engine is smoking or is consuming oil, don't assume, oh, you want to change your rings or your spacing and rings or your sleeves as well. You might dismantle your engine and end up spending, maybe the rings and the pieces maybe will cost you less than 100,000. But by the time you eventually dismantle the engine, you have a bill of 5 to 1 million or more than that, depending on the engine model. Maybe your crankshaft is bad, your camshaft is bad, your engine block is bad, your sleeve is bad, your oil pump is bad. There's so many things, you start seeing them. So do not assume that it's only rings, because if you go and change only the rings when these other components are bad, it's pointless. So those are the things. So before you embark on engine rebuild, have I'm not saying have a huge amount of money keep standby. So what I'm saying, at least find out how much does this cost. All these components I mentioned, how much do they cost? Have them at the back of your mind. How much does the crankshaft cost, the camshaft cost, the piston and sleeve, rings, even cylinder heads. Trust me. How much does cylinder head cost? The valves, the oil pump, if it's timing chain, you need to find out. Most likely you're replacing it anyway. So if I start mentioning it here, it take a while. Find out all those things before you now bring over. Say, when you are now ready, you know that if all this thing will cost ₦1 million, you could still do maybe 1.2, and then say, okay, fine. You bring the vehicle, tear the engine down, tear it apart, pieces it. As they are now going through all of them, when everything is out, you can now be saying, okay, this is good, this is good, this is, oh, this is bad. this is good, oh this is bad, or this is already weak but not fully bad. You could still manage it, or it's better you change it. You'll be seeing all those things from there now, so that you will be taking, because most times you realize that people won't be financially ready. They will just be thinking it's only the rings, it's only the patience, only for them, but eventually the one who work start, they won't be able to conclude it. The car will stay at the workshop for months. So be ready. It's better you leave the car at your place. When you are ready, then you bring the vehicle, tear it down, and within weeks, days, your engine will start running. So you're likely not going to spend all those amounts, but you are prepared if it comes to that. That's my point. So telling you this as someone who has done engine rebuild, not once, not twice, do it for other people as well. See, I'm old experienced driver, so not just as a technician. So telling you what will help you if you are considering engine rebuild. For me, I prefer the engine replacement, but depending on your budget, because if you don't have enough, it's pointless. What I mean is, if there's a way you do it, you are better off with the engine replacement. But then engine replacement is also its own risk, because if it's not brand new engine, any used engine you're buying is just a matter of, call it luck. Might be close to the one you are replacing. It's just that maybe it's better a little. You might start smoking 2-3 weeks after mounting it, or even a week, or there are some that I've experienced a month after engine replacement, they became worse as worse as the one they changed, or close to. So that's how it is, and that time your warranty is gone. All right, so like the video, subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one. All right.